Hello. I would like to talk today about life. I know I've talked about life before, but this is a little different. I'm going to use an allegory to try to explain it to you. We look at the ocean, and the ocean is made up of drops of water. Now, creation is actually individualization. If we were to use that ocean as an example of all of life, and the drops of water as each individual that lives in this world, and the place where this is going on is heaven. We'll call it heaven. Could call it the spiritual world, but heaven is probably a name that is better. And that makes us all one. We're all one. All drops of water are one within the ocean, just like all mankind is one within the Creator, the Father. And when Jesus said, "If you see me, you see the Father," that's what he meant. And that's easy to understand, because the Father, he was within the Father, and the Father was within him. And he stated that. So, that puts us together a little more closely than we ever thought about before. And Jesus went on to say, another one, that you can look here and you can look there, but the kingdom of God is within you. And that's true. Actually, we're all, every single one of us, connected. We're all one. We're all connected through God. Doesn't matter what country we live in, or what religion we believe, or anything at all about us. We're all one. And that's why that love becomes so important, because we were created in God's image, of course, and God is love. The kingdom of God is love. And when Jesus said that we should love one another, he goes on to explain himself as meaning everyone. Because there's no profit in just loving those people that love you. The idea is to love your enemies, to love everyone. And this is concept that's pretty hard to understand. There's a lot of things in the Bible that Christians never look at. They never read. They're never taught. If they've read the whole Bible, they probably have read these. But I doubt that they really understood the meaning of them. And this is so important. And we're all created in heaven. And we grow in heaven. I like to call the creation of a new soul in heaven is called, usually it's called a spark. So you're created as a spark, and then you grow. And when you reach a certain stage or statue in there, certain awareness, you become aware that there is a physical dimension, and that you can enter that physical dimension if you so desire. And if you do want to enter the physical dimension, it's not a real easy task. You go through a training process. You know, you understand that going into physical life is not easy. That you're leaving a place of love and going into a place of duality, a place where there is love and there also is not love. And your task is to understand that and bring love to the physical. It's kind of a classroom. You come in, and more likely you're taught to fear right off the bat. Somebody tells you that you're mortal and you can die, and when you were in heaven, of course, you could not die. You were eternal. Well, coming in the physical, you don't lose your eternalness. You take on a body. And this body is a little bit like a spacesuit, and it's necessary for you to use that to come into the physical. Because if you come into the physical without a body, no one can see or hear you, so there's no point in it. So you come in and you take a body, and then you start learning. You start learning about what is love and what is not love. And to succeed here, you have to grow in love. That's the whole idea. Now, the way you come into the physical is that you make that decision, and then you go through a training program, and you're allowed to look down into the physical life and to choose who will be your parents and what country you will live in, and many other things you're allowed to choose. You're allowed to choose what sex you'll be. Because you see, in heaven there is no sex. It's like when the man asked Jesus, if a man marries a wife and she dies, and then he marries another wife, when they all get to heaven, who will be this man's wife? And Jesus explained that there is no marriage in heaven. There is no marriage in heaven because there is no sex in heaven. That comes only with the body. So you get to choose what sex you'll be when you come down here. And then at the appropriate time, after you've made these choices, someone from the spirit world helps you to enter that baby's body at the time of birth. And therefore you give life to that body. Here on the physical, we can make bodies, but we don't make life. Only God can make life, and only God can destroy life. And this is an interesting factor. Now, all this you can find talked about in the Bible in one way or another. If you just kind of look through it a little bit and understand what you're reading at that point. Now, if you would buy my book, Hellfire, Cool Water, I talk about a lot of those things in there that people don't normally know about, that people don't normally read or understand. But this puts a whole new light on religion, and a whole new light on how we look at one another. If you look at one another only to see the body, then you've missed who that individual is altogether. It's kind of like looking at a picture frame and not seeing the picture. Because within every person you meet is the kingdom of God. Every person you meet. And I don't know. I think that I'll stop here. You could talk forever about life. But thank you for listening to me.